Hello guys, welcome to another video, and today we've got a short video about a bug that currently exists in the game, and this has to do with damage taken as and damaging ailments. So let's just hop straight over to the post here on the Path of Exile build subreddit, which is discussing an issue related to this. This post is explaining a bug where having exactly 100% physical damage from hits taken as other damage types means that you can still be inflicted with bleeding, while having 101% or more means that you can't be inflicted with bleeding anymore. And the post references this post here from back in September of last year by this user right here, someone inapt. In this post, they mention that they have precisely 100% physical damage from hits taken as other types, and they are still being inflicted with bleeding. And then they go on to mention in another post down here that with over 100%, they are no longer inflicted with bleeding. Now, this may seem like the intuitive mechanic here that with 100% or more physical damage from hits taken as other types, you no longer take physical damage from hits and therefore you cannot be inflicted with bleeding. However, this is not the case. The actual bug here is that the 101% plus damage shift is not being inflicted with bleeding. This is because damaging ailments are supposed to be entirely based on the originating hit damage, not the damage that you actually take from a hit. Here's another older Reddit thread in which a user is trying to create a self-ignite setup. Essentially, they were using Gluttony, which inflicts physical hit-based damage on the user, with the old Formless Inferno, which has physical damage taken as fire, and the old Sunspite boots, which had chance to be ignited. So the expected interaction from this user was that a hit of physical damage comes from Gluttony, which would partially be taken as fire, and that fire damage would then be able to ignite them. The user went on to discuss their logic in the comments, and Mark from GGG replied in a few posts here. So firstly, the user was converting some of their own damage to fire, and as pointed out here by Mark, this is irrelevant because the self-damage from Gluttony is not their damage, it's coming from the belt. Then Mark clears up some of the terminology being used here. This is really important actually. Damage conversion is not damage taken as, they're two entirely different mechanics. And the user goes on to say they take some of the physical damage as fire with chance to be ignited, but they're never ignited. And Mark goes on to say there is zero igniting damage being dealt, only being taken. The ignite can only possibly be calculated on the source side, and that is only dealing physical damage. It has no damage to ignite with, so it calculates a hit that deals only physical damage and therefore does not have an ignite to apply. You then take some of that physical damage from the hit as fire, but that's not relevant to the source of the damage calculating the ignite damage of its hit. The hit was already calculated, and part of that was calculating its accompanying ignite, in this case, none. Mark also goes on to clarify this, replying to another comment in the thread, saying that ignite is based on damage being dealt, not damage taken. So this was from 6 years ago, and as far as I'm aware, there's been no official changes to these mechanics. They should still function this way in the game right now, except they're not. Today I've tested this and confirmed it myself using the Rat Cage unique body armor. This one makes you take 100% of fire damage from hits as physical damage instead. So I've equipped this on a character and went in and sat in at Ziri's lair for a very long time tanking flame blasts, both with the Rat Cage equipped and without. And I can confirm that with the Rat Cage equipped, I was never inflicted with Ignite. The modifier on the Rat Cage, which makes you take fire damage as physical, should have absolutely no interaction with Ignite whatsoever. You should still be inflicted with an Ignite with the magnitude of the full fire damage from the hit, even though you're taking no fire damage from the hit itself, based on the comments from Mark, and based on game mechanics from older versions of the game. So I'm not sure when this bug occurred, but it has seemingly existed since at least the trial of the Ancestors League, that was 3.22, and possibly it has been around for much longer than that. So to clarify, the bug here isn't that the character with 100% physical damage from hits taken as other types is being inflicted with bleed. That's how it should work based on Mark's comments. In this case, what's likely happening here is a rounding error where the character is 99.99% damage shifted, and still takes a tiny amount of physical damage, so the bleed still gets applied. No, the bug here is actually that bleed and ignite, and very likely also poison, these damaging ailments are currently not being inflicted on you when you have 100% or more hit damage of the inflicting type taken as other types. Anyway guys, that's going to be it for this video. I just wanted to make one for this bug because it's definitely not functioning as it should be. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.